I know this is going to be somewhat controversial, especially with my human design enthusiasts that have made this their life's work for quite some time now. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking the importance of learning your type, your strategy, your authority. These are important models to be taught and to understand the workings of what is the framework that's being described, okay? But I do believe that at the time that this modality, that this system hit the scene, there's something that, I mean, I've listened to a lot of Ra's talks, okay? As a manifester, he has this way, this compelling way of kind of pulling you in like a tractor beam. There's something about the way in which Ra-Uru-Hu speaks. It drives home that repelling aura. I've seen the repelling aura of the manifester. I've seen the enveloping aura of the generator. I've seen this in my mind's eye. I can sense it. I can feel it when I'm around it. However, this being said, it's not to say that, I mean, here's the deal. Human design is the science of differentiation. And these different types and subtypes and profile subthemes and all of these categories are important models for us to familiarize ourselves with. And one of the things that I picked up on, though, as Ra is speaking about all of this is he felt overwhelmed with the amount of information that was infused to him by that mysterious voice back in 1987 when the human design system was received by him in Ibiza, Spain. He felt overwhelmed in as much that, you know, the human race is not going to get this. Like, they're not going to get it. I've got to simplify it. I've got to break it down in digestible pieces that are going to be at least understood enough that they can teach their children so that maybe they can actually awaken. Do you see where I'm going with this? Like, it was so much of a download that he felt overwhelmed with the notion that it was up to him to teach this system to humanity. And that's when models come in handy. That's when, you know, breaking things down into simplified forms can be very beneficial for easy access and comprehension, okay? But that doesn't mean that those models are gospel. It doesn't mean that they are actual representations of the process and the mechanics of what he was attempting to impart to us, okay? Now I'm going to make this very clear, as clear as I possibly can. Types, strategies, authorities, this is what is explored in depth whenever we first jump into the human design system rabbit hole, right? We want to know our type. We want to know what our strategy is, you know, and we want to know what authority we have to, you know, to be the amazing human being that we were put here to be. Here's the deal, though. I mean, the types, the differentiated types, there are only 4 of those. And then there's subtypes that, you know, you can break them into, that, like the manifesting generator versus the pure generator, the emotional manifesting generator. And these subtypes are really designated by the authority that we have based on the motor centers that are lit up or defined, right, in our human design body graph. Okay, from all of this, these types were described by Ra to have these differing auras, these differing aura types. The generator aura type is enveloping, like a big bear hug, right? The manifester aura is repelling. It's like the opposite of that, but in as much it creates this almost like a force field of magnetic space in between the manifester and everyone else who hears the manifester speak. Okay, and that's what creates the phenomena of, you know, these people that are natural leaders. They were designed to be leaders. And I'm not knocking the idea that a manifester has a repelling aura. I absolutely agree they have a repelling aura, but that's not the only thing that differentiates them. The type of repelling aura that they have is going to differ from another manifester type. For instance, I'm going to give you an example of 3 different splenic manifestors, okay? Number 1 splenic manifester, Vladimir Putin. Number 2, Vladimir Zelensky. Believe it or not, their aura types, their human design types are not that different, yo. Number 3 human design type with a manifester repelling aura, a splenic manifester, specifically that splenic authority, Adolf Hitler. These 3 splenic manifestors all have a very different aura type of that manifester repelling aura than, say, Tom Cruise or Johnny Depp, who both are emotional manifestors, okay? They have that emotional authority out of the solar plexus. It's a very different flavor. It's a very different feel to be in the orbit of a manifester with splenic authority than a manifester with emotional authority. Yes, they both have that repelling aura, but there's going to be distinct differences. And are you with me? All right. I'm a pure generator. There's a lot of people in the entertainment industry and the podcast business that are generators. This is very, very much generator energy. That, you know, we have this defined sacral that is the seat of creation, and it's the seat of response to our external environment, okay? It has a very resonant, like, buzz to it. That's how Ra described it. We have this internal buzz feature that responds just naturally without us trying to. Without us attempting to, like, consult our mind. We can simply be in our body, and our body will respond to the environment around us. However, that being said, you know, we it's really interesting that you know, there's like the emotional manifesting generator, there is the pure manifesting generator, there's the pure generator. And pure generator, you know, a pure generator can have everything from a defined splenic, a defined ajna, a defined head, a defined root center, a defined identity center, or they might only have that sacral center connected to one of those, like this spleen or the root or the identity center, like I do. I have encountered so many different generators in my membership and otherwise that they differ so wildly from what my aura, my enveloping aura offers, okay? Regarding projectors, and projectors have what is known as a penetrating aura, where they're said to do really well one-on-one with that penetrating aura, where they like bore into you and they can see inside of you, and that can be really uncomfortable for people. And it is believed that means that their strategy should be that they, you know, request permission, because it can feel very violating to have someone boring into your aura without your expressed consent, right? That makes sense. However, that being said, there are plenty of projectors that I've met, some of which are in my membership. I mean, one specifically so is a heart projector. She described to me on my podcast, she expressed that in the beginning it was important for her to work one-on-one with people, but she has a spiritual healing center in Sweden. And over time, it became important for her to work one-to-many. I do believe that the human being is transforming. I mean, Ross said that himself. We are in a transient state of the human experience. We are in an active state of transformation, an active state of transit. I mean, the global cycle shift is going to be occurring in 2027. And once that happens, it's like all of these models, all of these frameworks, these like categories that we've been given, a lot of them are going to be null and void, y'all. Like it's going to be very important for us to start sensing each other's energies, and certainly have those frameworks to fall back on, to use as that model, which I believe that they were always expressly intended for. They were never intended to be gospel. They were never intended to be dogma. It was simply important for Ra to share that with us as it was, because he was only the door opener. That's what Ra Uru Hu quite literally means, is the door opener, and he will tell you that. And I want you to imagine, like, visualize cracking open a door, and how much you can see into that room is limited. It's very important for someone to come along and open that door, period. But that being said, it's not the full composition of what is contained inside. Okay, and the more that we cling to these types and these authorities and these strategies that are laid out for these authorities explicitly for them and no one else, like, oh, well, you're this, and if you're this, then you're not that. It's very, we do live in this world of duality, and we are meant to experience the 3D world in this dualistic way. However, the science of differentiation, it's there for us to explore just that. And the differentiation comes in many different flavors and forms, and the ways in which we are infused with these energies. I mean, I, as a generator, allegedly, I'm supposed to be like an Energizer bunny, never experiencing burnout, never experiencing exhaustion. I can't tell you how far that is from the truth, and for someone to tell me that that's just a product of my conditioning is a gaslight like no other. Okay? Like, it is. It's a gaslight. And I've met projectors that supposedly they burn out quickly. They are, more prone to needing more rest. And I'm not saying that that's not a model that we can go off of, but we have to look at the entirety of a person's energy in the chart. We have to look at the comprehensive facets and features that make them a unique human being before we start applying these blanket statements. Because I have generators in my membership that are, one of them, he is on a bike trip across the entire United States by himself. He's riding the Great American Rail Trail. Hello, he ain't tiring out easily, yo. That's not something I could ever do. I could if I wanted to, but I'm telling you that there are certain projectors that tire out more easily than I as a generator. And it doesn't mean that, that there aren't facets and features of the generator type and aura that don't apply to me. They do. But it's whenever we get into these blanket statements of categorizing and saying, well, once you have this feature of your aura type, you're only that, and you'll only be that. There are characteristics of me that are very similar to that of a reflector or a projector. I mean, and I can point to them in my chart, and some of them are, they are the result of different combinations of energies. And these are things that I am picking up along the way, and I'm taking note of, and I'm collecting data with every single person that I interact with, and everyone that I, communicate with about this in the virtual landscape. This is why I'll offer you your chart for free. If that's something that you want to explore, I'd love to provide you with a full workup of your human design chart, and it's going to include a lot more information than those freebie ones that you get on those funnels where you plug in your information and then they shoot it out to you, and then they subscribe you to an email list. Like, mine will have a lot more information, and I'll actually volley back and forth with you a bit about it if it's something that you're interested in learning. Now, if it's something that you're really interested in diving deep on and understanding how your energy is unique, and not just that, but also understanding the nature of your life purpose and what it is you are here for individually as a human, based on what it is that you can see in your chart, what it is I can share with you about your chart, and then empowering you to run with that in the orbits of other people who are also self-empowered. This is where transformation is actually possible. This is where you stepping into your divine life purpose comes into play. Because here's the main thing that I want to impart to you about, why these different types, strategies, and authorities, like why they don't matter. Here's the thing. If you get into like another membership for human design, or if you work with another reader or a mentor or a coach, they're first going to tell you what it is you are designed to do as a generator, as a projector. They're going to explicitly outline your authority. They're going to tell you that doing anything differently than that is a product of your conditioning. And in order to decondition from this, it's going to take a very long time for you to do that. Here's the deal. If you have a defined solar plexus, you have emotional authority that you can tap into. It's going to feel different in your body than, say, the sacral authority, that if you have that defined, you can tap into that as well. Other human design experts and teachers are not going to teach you that. They're going to say, nope, if you have emotional authority, you have emotional authority. And they're going to completely ignore the sacral. And I'm telling you that I have had so much success. My clients have experienced so much success from just like tapping. I have one client in my membership. She has like every single motor center defined except for her wide open heart. She has all of those authorities that she can tap into on a consistent basis. And then there's someone like me who has a lot of open centers. And even though I can't tap into them on a consistent basis, I need to understand how those authorities work, because whenever a transit occurs, like it's going to occur in my Lilith return, whenever I'm age 43 in a couple of years, whenever like these different energies are activated by the cosmological transits that I am actively keeping up with in this membership with my participants, whenever these shifts occur, they are going to light up different activations of different gates in my chart that's going to, eureka, all of a sudden I have emotional authority and I need to know how to use it. Do you see where I'm going with this? Like, we have access to all of these energies, and shutting ourselves off to the little crack in the door that we can only see through this much because we are this authority or we are this type, it is incredibly limiting, and I'm like so over it. I'm over it, y'all. Like, I'm over hearing these different, like reading through these threads and hearing these different teachers cling to these human design dogmas that are limiting themselves, and they are holding back their clients. And here's another thing. Other than the transits involved, I mean, those are brief windows in time that you have access to these consistent energies, because otherwise these energies lie dormant within your human body. If you have access to other people with those definitions in their charts, that's going to give you access to your own energy, your own expression of those energies in your chart in amazing ways, okay? That's what human design connections is all about. It's the connections that are formed from the interactions that we have. See, these definitions that you see in your individual chart, like, yeah, that's the consistent access you have to that energy as an individual, regardless of who is around you, what is going on in your orbit. You have consistent access to that, period. However, we're not here to operate in an individualized vacuum. We're here to have a human experience as tribal beings in the vicinity and in the communion of other people and events and, you know, things that are actually happening around us in the illusory external world. This is the point. Would you agree? Like, even if you didn't know anything about human design, doesn't that have a ring of truth to it? So wouldn't it be kind of a waste of our time if we're only looking into what activates us as an individual? Wouldn't we be leaving a lot of money on the table, a lot of books on the shelf, if we're not looking at how other people in our lives activate the energy within us? Whenever an event befalls us, if we are not looking at the cosmological transits that are made apparent by those actual things happening, that, like, shouldn't we be exploring that a little bit more in depth than only our individual type and our individual strategies based on these kinds of authorities of what's lit up in us as an individual? I mean, that to me is the entire point. We need to explore both, because we're here to activate others just as much as we are here to be activated by ourselves, right? Okay. All right, I'm stepping off of my soapbox. That was fun. I'm excited to share more with you. I'm going to drop that link so that you can subscribe. I'm always interviewing amazing humans and highlighting different features and facets of their unique human design, and you get to see in real time the interactions that we have on camera. And I also explore the energetic activations that they light up within me, and that's just, it's so cool to share that with the human collective. So please subscribe to ZenJen Connections and hit that bell so you'll be notified. And if you're interested in connecting with my orbit, I'm pooling all of my energy into my membership right now. It is an active inquiry and data collection process of the more people we add, the more access to these energies it becomes readily available to all of us. And we are in deep communion with each other about, you know, our personal transits and our personal transitions as human beings. Like, that's basically the common denominator that unites all of us in there, is that we're all going through something that is, it's changing. Like, we're all going through this massive change in our human life that is, it's defining what it means to be human for each of us. You know, some of us are going through, like, divorces. Some of us are going through major shifts in lifestyle. I know that one of my clients in there recently left her 9-to-5 job, and she's thrown her all into her online business. You know, these are the transitions that are, they're those fork in the road moments that leading us, you know, this way will define the rest of our life in an entirely different way. Leading it that way will do the same, but it's about these choices that we all have to make, and it's doing it within a network of people with human design as the framework of viewing it through the lens to assist us and to empower us on that journey, you know? So I'll leave that link in the comments as well. It's been really amazing syncing with you today, and I appreciate you for tuning in to why it is that these types and these strategies and these authorities, they don't matter in the way that you think that they do. They don't matter in the way that these human design experts are throwing them out there, that, you know, telling you to commit your entire beingness to these frameworks and boxing yourselves into these categories of dogma and gospel that do not apply. They're certainly not going to apply in the same ways that, you know, maybe it's helped us up to this point, but we are steadily moving towards this transition, this global consciousness shift. That's what these global cycles are indicative of. And in just a couple short years, in 2027, it's going to be a whole new game. It's going to be an entirely new framework. The goalposts are going to shift, and we're going to have to pivot and learn how learning these energies of these 64 ways of the ancient I Ching of China. That's what these 64 gates in human design are referenced from. It's about finding those things that stand the test of time, and how in which they apply, though, to our human lives. That's the variable differentiation that we really need to start exploring in an entirely new way. So I love you so much, and thank you for tuning in with me, beautiful human. Mwah.